Wells only and his guests are not responsible for any losses you may accrue for having weak hands. Where the haters at? Y'all bitches still ain't showed up. And now, right, we got HEX, flawless uptime. People thought this was a joke. Now they're mad at the chart. It's lullaby music, really, right? It's hard to believe that something like this exists. I get it, but you just gotta come to terms with reality. It just exists. Nothing we can do about it. Buy, stake, and chill, baby.
This is Wales Only. Glad you guys can make it out. I'm making some claims that are pretty outlandish, but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're gonna pay the consequences for that, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. We're obliterating everybody, literally. There is nobody else that comes close to what HEX has done. Boom. Oh, it's about to get funky. Funkier than you could have ever imagined. You know, Richard Hart is a boss. HEX is literally the best thing on the planet. It's simple mathematics, right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep. Everybody. My God. Ex-Asians, bro. Everybody. Australians, man. Everybody gets me. Yo, when is it told you? Dollar told you. Everybody done told you. It's crazy. What up, fam? Hope everybody's having an outstanding Monday. It's been John Blaze in the headlines today. So I figured, let me jump on here and give you guys an overview of what these bankruptcies, what these things even are, what they even mean. So let's do that. That way, when you guys see all these headlines passing you on by, you know, it's not Chinese. You understand what's going on, and you don't have to rely on me to tell you everything all the time. So, you know, people thought that, you know, the deluge was over. The deluge was over, but we still got another wave incoming, right? And you got to just respect it. It's okay. The market will recover because that's what markets do. But they first have to trade the way they got to trade. And that's the problem with the unit of account, right? Now we have to suffer the consequences of the unit of account. And there's nothing anybody can do about that. That's just what it is. So be sure to be mindful that that is what's going on, right? Because it can only be repeated but so many times. Eventually, you have to understand that the truth is the truth, especially when it's playing out in real time, right? Share this screen here. You guys looking at some charts. Hold on. You know what? Give me a second. There we go. All right. So this is a 34-minute view of Bitcoin. as you guys see, it's pretty much topped out. You got negative divergence out the ass. I mean, it's so profound that the moving average didn't even have time to set up, but you can see it in the RSI and in the histogram for the moving average. So, this is just an interim move, right? Because it doesn't mean anything. But these are the kinds of things that happen out of nowhere, right? Not that great of a look once you scope out, zoom out. So what you'd want to see is these previous support areas of 18.9 essentially hold. 18.750 is what you want to see hold. And if that breaks, bye-bye. And pretty confident that is going to break. Oh, let's see if we can get a guest on board here. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at with Bitcoin. As you guys can see, it's reversing right now. Not looking too tight. And, things to be aware of, right? Because the market reacts to Bitcoin, even though it's sometimes beyond their ability to control what's actually happening, right? And if we look at this daily picture, it's not looking too hot because essentially it's running into resistance right here at 23K. And it's topped out again where it's topped out before at 22. So while everybody's getting hyped, they're about to get slam dunked basically. And that's pretty much that. Ethereum, same boat. Room to run till 17. But until then, still in the same vein, right? Nothing's really changed. You would need it to break this structure in order for it to be a true reversal. Because then you wouldn't have this overhead resistance pressing itself upon it. And as you guys can see, it traces back to 2021. So it matters. Can't just ignore it. Hold on, guys. So yeah, that's what's going on there. In Ethereum, you got 1,700 or 1,100, excuse me, is the level to watch for now. Assuming it even makes it up that high. Let's see what we got going on here. So moving averages are already starting to depress themselves. And here's the thing, you've already seen it happen once, twice before. Typically on the third one, that's it. That's all you get. So something to be aware of. Let's see what X is doing. Consolidating as expected. And as intended, right? It's still on that red line, which is to me the actual support that Hex needs to hold in order to maintain its current structure, right? Which is pretty important to us. because this would signify continuance of the trend we've been on, essentially. An impending bigger wave than the previous one, because this consolidation was even bigger than all previous ones, right? It went up higher, came down further in terms of magnitude, right? Because we went from 50 to 3, not 1.3 to 0.002, right? So it's a little different. And because it's a little different, the reversal is going to be a little different, right? So these are the kinds of things you got to keep in mind. Again, this is opportunity time, folks. Sure hope you're taking advantage of it, because your ass is going to get left behind if you do not. Don't get dissuaded by things that don't make sense. Focus on what makes sense. If you want to print money, then the equation is pretty easy. If you don't, then good luck, right? I mean, it's pretty straightforward, because that's basically what it boils down to. Good luck or print money. So remember, ground floor, trillions of dollars in market opportunity are facing you on this chart. No other coin can realistically compare to that. And I think you guys need to really wrap your heads around that. Hold on, guys. Fuck, I was muted. Thank you, Mackenzie. Appreciate you. So what I was saying is, eventually these institutions that find themselves trying to find yield elsewhere are gonna have to come here, because there's nowhere else for them to get it. This is exactly why we're now going to review bankruptcy chapters in the bankruptcy code. I mean, this is insane. I never thought I'd have to stream about this, but this is where we are. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Apparently I'm muted, but I see that I'm not muted here. So just let me know. Test, test. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So Title 11, right? This one doesn't typically apply. This is like basics. These are the different chapters, right? And this is what the other site had, 7, 11. These are the ones that actually get invoked under the law. So chapter 7 is liquidation proceeding, available to consumers and businesses. The assets of the debtor that are not exempt from creditors are collected and liquidated, right? So not exempt from creditors. So that means everything is included. And the proceeds are distributed to creditors. A consumer debtor receives a complete discharge from debt under Chapter 7, except for certain debts that are prohibited from this discharge by bankruptcy code. We don't got to get that deep, but this is Chapter 7. This is typically for people. This is typically the ones that people approve. Sorry, guys. But yeah. So Chapter 11 bankruptcy provides a procedure by which an individual or a business can reorganize its debts while continuing to operate. So this one here, liquidation. You want to reduce the amount of money you're going to be paying. Here, you're just trying to restructure the debts. Maybe pay them in a different way. Pay them out, 2 times a year versus every month. Something like that. Whatever works. Chapter 12. Well, let me finish reading it. The vast majority of Chapter 11 cases are filed by businesses. The debtor, often with participation from creditors, creates a plan of reorganization under which to repay part or all of his debt. So if you guys ever seen those commercials where they say they'll help you fix your debt or whatever, this is what that is. Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So you can reorganize, restructure your debts. That's what it is. Chapter 12 allows a family farmer or fisherman to file for bankruptcy, reorganize its business affairs, or repay all or parts of his debts and continue operating. So clearly, this is unique to these entities. Hold on, guys. All right. So if you all of a sudden see a bunch of farms start failing in the Midwest, you're going to see them fall into this code. Chapter 12, often called wage earner bankruptcy, is used primarily by individual consumers to reorganize their financial affairs and the repayment plan that must be completed within 3 to 5 years. To be eligible for Chapter 13 relief, a consumer must have regular income and may not have more than a certain amount of debt. So whatever that is, now you know, if you didn't know. This one, of course, is unique because you have to meet certain requirements, right? And they're all laid out right here in this little synopsis. Chapter 15 provides debtors, creditors, and other parties in interest involved in insolvency cases in foreign countries a mechanism by which they can assert their rights. So I don't know if you guys ever heard of this guy, this fund called Elliott. I don't remember their whole name. Elliott Capital Management, I think it is. Anyways, they were trying to recover an asset that they had in Argentina from the Argentinian government. And they invoked this on them because they try to act like they didn't have the asset. So they were like, okay, well, we're going to collect on you. So they invoked this. And I think they eventually got the ship. It was like a ship or something. I can't remember exact details. Hold on. All right, sorry about that, guys. So yeah, it was like a ship or something. I can't remember exactly how it resulted. I think the dude ended up getting his ship, but let me check. actually. And let's see. Yeah, here we go. Holy crap. Well, yeah, this is funny. Uh, let's see. This is just interesting. An interesting anecdote. I don't want to get too deep into it, but as you guys can see, it happens in real time. Uh, so yeah, these are the whole set of bankruptcy codes that the courts typically invoke on individuals or entities. Um, and this is what's going on. You guys see all these entities trying to quote unquote restructure or just get liquidated. Now you know what they're doing. It's either Chapter 11 or Chapter 7. Pretty much it. Um, it's looking hot out here, right? Everybody's hyped. These guys are happy. You got a little pump in their coins. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool. It's real cool. We all want to get paid and all that, but what are we doing, right? Like you got these folks literally sitting out here begging to be regulated. I mean, do you guys realize that these guys are out here begging to be regulated? Begging. I mean, this is where we're at in 2022. The Bitcoin maxis want to get regulated, and then to boot, they want to regulate the rest of you out. I mean, you guys saw the RA stream earlier. I don't got to repeat it. We've been talking about it for months. You guys know I review all legal aspects of this crypto nonsense, just so you guys understand what's actually going on. Because that's it. You got to know. You guys can see they're out here doing what they want to do with the money. They keep sending it all types of places, but not to you. They keep going to ask for commodities so that other individuals can give it to them, but they won't open up the economy here. They'll print and print and print, but yet ask you for more. Prices go up because they are not doing what they're supposed to do. How does that change? It changes by you getting involved. There's enough of us screaming, they got to listen. They're going to know that their jig is up and the party's over. And that's it. Congress will have to act. That's literally how it works. Educate yourselves. Learn. Because the longer we let this party go on, the more it's going to hurt after. It ain't going to be cute. It's going to be real ugly. And that's just how the cookie crumbles because they clearly have no incentive to not do what they're doing. And this is important for you guys to realize because where else is your value going to go if you don't play the cards right? Because people are out here looking for stables, but they're not realizing what happens if that stable just goes to zero one day. You don't control that. Something to think about because that's real. You don't control that admin key. Somebody else does. And they are not your friends. We've reviewed this before. Don't forget it. They're not out here trying to make you folks rich. They're out here trying to keep you suppressed. I mean, we've gone from 3.3 trillion, right, to 762 billion. 75% drop in 220 days. And I don't think that we're done yet. I think we still go down another leg. Probably another 300 trillion, or 300 billion, excuse me, from the low of 760 billion. So we're probably going to hit 350 trillion, or billion, excuse me. Oh, sorry, guys. So these are things to keep in mind as we move forward because, you know, I don't foresee Hex really taking the brunt of this lick. I think the liquidity for Hex is structured at this point such that you either get in or you get left behind. Because as you guys can see, that market just continues to sustain itself. Right? We keep making higher highs, not lower highs. Higher lows as well. So these are things to keep in mind, right? We had a nice little run here that got dumped down. You guys know how that goes, but we're going to keep flushing these people out along the grind. And that's just how it's going to work out. Again, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunistic point in time. So it's crucial that you take advantage of it. Crucial. Where else you going to put your money? Where else you going to get paid? See, all the while everybody's out here looking elsewhere. They're not staked. They're not earning yield, right? So they're not printing more crypto. That means they got to find more fiat to print that crypto. But what you should do as a good exercise to understand how powerful staking is, you should sit here whenever you got some time and ask yourself this question. How much hex have I printed during the past 301 days? And how much is that going to be at 50 cents? Just that printed portion, not your whole bag. Just what you printed in these 301 days. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do you guys a favor. I am going to give you that number shortly. Let me just find the data. Give me 1 second because I really want you guys to understand the power of staking. I mean, here are these. Oh, I closed the window. Why am I acting like I need to close that? We're here talking about bankruptcy because this is really out here happening because people don't understand the severity of the middleman in the games that they play. We've had all of these entities so far get tagged. Got a couple left. And everybody's expecting the Fed to hike rates one more time. And that's 9 days away, 8 days away. Actually, 9 days away. It's going to be on the Wednesday following this Wednesday. So that's 9 days away. What happens if the cost of capital increases further such that it really hinders these entities? What's next? Right? I mean, these are the kinds of things you guys got to think about. The long game is serious. It's easy to talk, but what are you really doing? Right? Are you really making money year over year? Like, these are the questions you got to ask yourself, because these are the real questions. Nothing else is real. That's the realest thing. How is your net worth increasing year over year? Is it not? Is it just this year? If it's just this year, are you prepared for next year? Most people are not. How do you ensure that you perform better than last year? How do you ensure that? Right? These are the things you got to think about as you progress through life. Right? It's easy to talk the talk, very easy to talk the talk, but it's not easy to walk it. Right? And we see that every day. Every day we see that. And that's why it's important to take your responsibilities to yourself seriously, because only you can, only you can save yourself. Nobody else can. 656. So let's see, 656. So we got 218, 19. All right. So, these are the things you got to think about, guys. A long game, right? How do you ensure? How do you ensure that you're getting what you need to get out of life and out of your efforts, right? Because you can spend a long time treading water and not even realize it, because you're just busy thinking that you're doing the right thing, but you're in reality not. It's not easy to find that escape route or that path to success. You got to really want it, right? You got to really want it, because sometimes it's just not going to be a given, because nobody wants to give up what they got. And sometimes that's what it takes, believe it or not. Sometimes it takes taking from others to get what you want. Sometimes it doesn't. And you know what? In this case, that's not the scenario we're living. And that's why it's so hard for people to wrap their head around it. That's why HEX is so difficult for people. It's not easy. It's one of the most difficult investments that the average person is going to make, especially in crypto, especially if they're involved in finance or anything markets, because it's always quarter to quarter, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. You guys watch the movies, I don't got to tell you. Right? That's the BS guys that people live under, that false reality. That isn't real. Money is made playing the long game. Ask Warren Buffett. Ask Stanley Druckenmiller. Ask SAC. Ask all the greats. Don't take my word for it. Just go, read up. See how people do it. Ask Michael Berry. Watch The Big Short. That wasn't a 2-minute trade. That was a 3-year trade that man put on there. And he took tons of heat. Tons of heat. That he got accosted for. That he almost lost his fund over. That's how it plays in real life. You got to know what you're doing. It's not easy. Think about it, right? Really think about it, because it's real. It's not going to change anytime soon, right? How much do you want it? Because everybody wants to be wealthy, but nobody wants to do what it takes. So how do you hold through a 75% dip, right? It almost seems asinine. Well, you got to have the long picture in mind, because here's the thing. With HEX, it's a little different. You don't got to time it. You don't got to sell the top. You don't got to do any of that. You don't. You can if you want to, if you're good enough. But it's hard to call the top if you don't know how to do it, and every market isn't the same. So you have to figure out a way to slice and dice that cookie, right? You got to do it. There is no other way. So that's how it has to go, whether you want it to or not. Um, and these are why I preach the things that I preach. Yeah, you buy the top, keep buying. Why you stopping? Who else are you like? What else are you doing? You got something else to do? Like, this is year 2 of the longest, bestest ride you're ever gonna take. I mean, and now you got Maxi and all this other stuff that's built on top of Hex Investment Trust for those that don't want direct crypto exposure. Like, you got it all nowadays, right? You didn't have all of this last year. Now you got all these other elements to throw on top of the goodness of Hex, right? Because Hex is that pure thing, man. It's like that spring water that we all want to bottle up and sell, right? You want to sell it to your friends, you want to sell it to the world, you want to sell it to the market. You want to let everybody know it's there because it's that good. That's all Hex is. It's the purity. It's financial purity, right? Because you mint your own yield. Nobody can stop you. Nobody can block you. Nobody can file bankruptcy on you and take your coins. I mean, imagine. Never mind the 3 Hour Capitals of the world, right? Because they're hedge funds. They were operating in fiat terms, right? And using that fiat to supposedly invest in crypto, which I'm not sure that was the case, given all the stuff that's come out so far about what they got going on. But if you understand that Hex is a tool, and you understand that this tool pays you a yield commensurate with the duration upon which you hold it, then you can literally set it up however you want. 1, 3, 7, 5, 10, 11, 12, 14, whatever. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. You can set it up however, whatever interval you want. But you got to understand what you're doing when you do that, right? Because as you guys have discovered, the market is cyclical no matter what, especially if people aren't actually staking like they said they were. Because this price pump got sold down, right? And what's interesting, and most people probably don't realize, is that there was a ton more selling this time around than there was the first time around. So there's no takebacks. Now, once we take off, it's not going to be like it was this first time. It's going to be more ridiculous because there's less hex to go around. And people underestimate that. I mean, it's getting real out there. 92, 93% dip as of now, as of yesterday's close, and we've hit 95%. And people are still waiting for 1.5 cent. I mean, they're comical. They're comical. So, if you got a spike down there, congrats. But that's all you're gonna get. And your limit order better be there, and it better be ready. So we shall see. All right, let me keep putting this data down. Let me get this out of here for now. So yeah. So these are kind of the breaks, right? You have trustless, immutable code that you have a bunch of people lying on because they get paid to lie on it. I mean, I don't want to bring up these clowns, but Jesus, how right can we be? Like anybody that was touting Hex in any way, I mean, genius. You look like a genius, right? Because you're not the guy out here shilling bullshit that's getting drug up in bankruptcy court or losing people's money or whatever have you. Like that is important because, as I've always told you guys, this is serious. People are coming here, putting their livelihoods on the line, trying to make this money. It's not a game. It's really not a game. So it's important that if you're a streamer specifically, you keep that in mind. Like it's cool to talk, fun and all that, but understand that you need to explain things correctly, right? Because people are hearing you, they are listening, and sometimes they follow, and sometimes it's not out of their own volition. So it's important that we try to be as forthcoming as possible, right? And again, Hex is like a business. It's going to have its up and downs, but you got to understand where the downs are coming from, right? And if people are not staking like they said they're like they're going to be staking, then you're going to see these 95% dips. Fact, not fiction. And that's where this came from. And that is one of those things that you can't ignore, right? Like the market is cyclical. And here's the funny thing. We're at a point in time where we could literally see the end of the fiat regime as we know it, right? And that's important to understand because that's exactly that's what people are missing. Some guys are finally catching on to the trade. I'm seeing it in the headlines. The big guys are finally starting to catch on because you're finally seeing so and so fund is going to start buying such and such currency. Not a coincidence, guys. It's like I've been telling you guys for a long time. There is nowhere else for them to go. The dollar's done. Markets are getting repoed and QE'd at the same time. They don't know what other lies to make up. They're about to hike probably in a couple of weeks just for the hell of it. I think that's the end of the hiking cycle, honestly. I'm looking to get long duration at that point in time, meaning I'm buying uh, call options and U.S. Treasury futures and for my specific situation. Because that's how I'm trading that. Because it's just a no-brainer to me at this point because the yield curve is so compressed. And we'll go back to that. Let me just update this yield stuff so I can give you guys the exact number of hex that you've earned during this time from the top to now. Because I think that's very important. I think it's very important people understand that. What is that, Dave? 656, yeah. Because this is what it's about. It's about playing the long game and collecting your fee from the market. So if you've been staked since the top to the day, you've made 1,863 hex per T share. 1,863.254 hex per T share since the top. Since 9/19/2021. How about that? All right, let me put for all viewers, since some of y'all live internationally. Except we've done 1,863 hex since per T share since the top. That's not a little bit. That's not a little bit of hex, right? While it's not a back-breaking amount in dollar terms, you still got to come up with them dollars to get it, yes? Yes, you do. They're not free. So it's important we understand that. And that is 73 bucks worth in HEX per T-share. So if you got 100 T-shares, that's 730 bucks. Or 7,300 bucks. 7,300 bucks. Sorry, guys. So if you got 100 T-shares, that's 7,300 bucks. If you got 1,000 T-shares, so on and so forth. If you got 10, right, you can do the math. So this is what's going on. So you've been printing all this crypto this whole time. 1,863 crypto. 63 hex coins per T-share. Now, for those of you that like the USD dollar or value, what's going to happen is once your portfolio starts going back up in dollar value terms, because it has happened, what that means is that you're going to see a higher fiat number there because you got more crypto in your bag now. That's how that works. So if you're upset that the US dollar value of your portfolio is not looking where you thought it would be now, don't worry. Once it starts turning back around, you're going to be making major money. Now, I want to open it up to people in the chat, see if anybody wants to come on stream. Why not? Put a stream your link in there. Let's do it. If anybody wants to come on, just jump on. Let's talk about this staking thing, man. Because I don't think people get it. You know, do you want to be talking about bankruptcy courts or making crypto? Like, where are we? It's pretty crazy. 1,863 and a quarter hex per T-share. That's a lot of hex from the top to now. Not mad at all. You shouldn't be either. It's a pretty good look if you got T-shares. So, yeah. What was the price of hex? I first mentioned the pulse chain sacrifice. I think it was around this price because it was around. When we go to Vegas, I think it got announced May 24th or something like that. So it might have been around here. So yeah, right around this price, 3 to 5 cents. So back where it all started, basically. I mean, a couple cents off at most. You know, big whoop. Either up or down, who cares? So, you know, this is major, man. If you've had 10 T-shares, you printed 10 T-shares times 1,863 hex. Like, that's what it's about, guys. It's about printing that crypto because while we have real assets and all these things, you know, the big wild card is what are we going to allow the government to do? And while we might know what's legally right, you know, we see all the time that the system doesn't work in behest of what's right first, right? The government is always allowed to do their overreach, and then you got to suffer the consequences and the cost and the brunt of how the system regurgitates the action that they took and invoked on you, right? I mean, you guys know eminent domain and all of that. So don't forget that because that's pretty crucial, right? That's what it's all about. That's important. So keep that in mind because that's where we're at, right? We're trying to make these funds to the point that you're not seeing anything but gains, right? And this means having a long-term point of view. Oh yeah, I've talked about this before. Thanks for asking. Yeah, once that happens, you're not gonna see 100K BTC. Period. You're not gonna see it. I don't care who says what. Once they approve that, you can kiss that dream goodbye. It just ain't gonna happen. What's going on, brother?
You got me on there?
Yeah, but we can barely hear you, bro.
Can't hear me?
Barely. Sounds like you're far away. You sounds like you need headphones. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I do have earphones on. Is that any better?
Negative.
That's a bummer. All right, well, I'll just listen, but I just was curious what, you hear Ripple and they're talking about XRP. What kind of threat does that pose to the Ethereum platform, and what kind of forecast can you give us? Because I definitely know you're super knowledgeable, and I think you'd probably be one of the leading experts to at least give us your opinion. So I'll sit back and listen. Thanks, Wells.
Hold on, don't leave just yet. I wanted to make sure I got your question right. You wanted to know what's the deal with XRP and how is it going to affect Ethereum? I don't know what's going on with XRP that could affect Ethereum. Are they trying to launch a chain or something? Because, I mean, if they are, I think they already kind of have a network where they can do transactions and stuff. What's going on, Machiavelli? You on mute in case you're talking, bro. So if they're trying to launch something, some type of ledger network where they can record transactions, they already have that. So I'm not sure that that's going to be much of an impact.
Hello.
What up, brother? Nah, I hear you. So I'm not sure this is going to be. What's good, bro?
It's all good. We out here.
We out here, man. Is XRP trying to do something as far as what do you call it? Putting a network up goes? Because Tank was asking about something like that. Does my logo look crazy? It looks crazy to me.
Looks good.
It looks good? Okay. It looks pixelated and out of color, out of whack to me. Yeah. Tank is definitely driving. He's definitely driving. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the question stems because Richard was live with in the title was about XRP, but the dude wasn't even like.
Yeah, he wasn't even in XRP. Yeah, he was like a Bitcoin maxi on the lowest and shit. Yeah, that was a funny interview or stream. Anyways, but yeah, 18,663 freaking hex per T-shirt. Not bad. So yeah, once they drop this BTC ETF, which they're acting like they don't want to, but they're gonna. But they gotta make it look good for the people, so it doesn't look like they just walked it in there, right? Gotta make them earn it, or at least make it look that way, and that's what they're doing currently. Because you better believe they want the ETF. They don't want the price of Hex, Hex Bitcoin all the way up there.
Yeah, until
well, let's think about it. What is the ETF going to buy? It's not going to buy the Bitcoin. That's not what ETFs do. They don't buy Bitcoin. They don't buy physical assets. They buy paper assets. Rare is the ETF that buys a physical asset, and then in that case, it's not an ETF. It's a fucking exchange traded note or something else. It's not an ETF in that case. It's just titled that, just for marketing purposes. So that's just because they don't know any better, bro. That's all. That's all. Yeah, that's been the claim for years, but as far as anybody knows, they don't use it. So, uh, let's see. My pleasure, brother. You recommend a lot of good reads and streams. How about the most? Let's see. What's a good one? I don't know. I recommend some pretty good ones. On economics. I guess. So I'm weird because I like to read papers and look at definitions and then compare and contrast. So this is what I do. Let me not say I'm weird. This is what I do. I look at what we get. Like you get the textbook definitions, right? And then you see what happens in the real world and how they act. You got to compare and contrast that versus what people actually do, because that's how you really ascertain what's real economics. That's why stuff like sanctions and all that stuff has never worked, right? Like ever since I was a kid, I seen that. Like you always see them trying to impose some type of monetary condition on another country, but it doesn't do anything because the only
like tariffs.
right. Well, no, tariffs are which. So here's the thing that people don't know about tariffs. Tariffs are the only thing that should exist because that's how you sustain comparative advantage. We don't have a comparative advantage structured world because what happens is the world is structured around the cost of labor capital, not the cost, not comparative advantage or where it's easiest to build something, right? That's not what we see in a global economy. Because if that was the case, globalization might be a good thing. There's a case to be made where globalization could be good if that was the case. But in essence, is that really globalization? No, because they're giving it a completely different definition, right? So, nah, not how it works, unfortunately. Um, so yeah. Yeah, so I don't know, people just don't know. They don't know what ETFs are mostly. Exchange traded funds. They're not buying no real assets. They're buying paper because that's what they were made for. That's why the stock market went up for fucking 12 years straight because it became an ETF market. It didn't become anything else. Uh, right? I mean, and we can see that. It's evident. As long as it's paper to buy, people will buy it. But GBTC right now is not being bought. Maybe it is recently. Well, maybe it is bottoming out. We'll see. Because the premium on the Delta is still pretty negative. Let me see if I can pull that up and show it to you guys. Where is it? Give me a second, guys. I'm trying to pull it up. Where is it? Here we go. So in the market, you'll see that it's a little bit above that close. It hasn't recorded today's close yet. Excuse me. But today's close is $14.08. But holdings per share is going to be higher as well, right? So it might be a parallel shift. So let's just do the math on that.
Yes.
What's
So
up, brother?
is that what Richard's talking about with the grayscale being able to buy at a discount? So it's just
Yes.
the arbitrage is basically tearing down
Yes.
Bitcoin. So until that disappears, Bitcoin's just going to keep going down because they can just buy and sell it for cheaper.
Correct. Basically. What am I doing? I'm a moron. I could have done that math in my head. So yeah, 35% delta. That's your discount. So they could buy. So what happens? Well, what happens is that they can buy Bitcoin directly from this trust if it's redeemable, and I think it is, if I remember correctly. The Bitcoin is redeemable from this trust, so they can just go sell it at this price on the market because that's the price of the market, and that's what's happening in real time. And this is why until this rectifies itself and it closes up, say around here, you're gonna have a problem with the actual price of Bitcoin and where it sits, and that's important to understand. Let's see here. Yeah, so the price difference is the cost of a T-share because the cost of a T-share constantly goes up. And right now it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from 23,000 hex per T-share. Right now it's 23,980 or something like that. Let me see. I can actually look it up right here real quick. Where are you? 22,997.1 hex per T-share. So we're 3 hex away. We jumped up 5 hours ago. I didn't even realize it. So we're 3 hex away, less than 3 hex away from seeing 23,000 hex per t-share. So a year ago, it was like, I don't know, 17,000 hex per t-share or something like that, maybe 19,000 to put a high value on it. So we've gone up 4,000 hex per t-share in that time. So it costs that much more in fiat terms, but that value changes over time. So it's more, you get more bang for your buck now. But if you foresaw this 95% dip then, you wouldn't have bought, right? So now it's cheaper, but if you wait, when it's 50 cents again, it's going to be 50 cents per hex times 23,000, not 19 or 18 or whatever it was last year at this time. So there's your answer. Yeah, man, it happened. It's going on. It's raising funds now. The Hex Investment Trust is raising funds from accredited investors. So if you're an accredited investor and you're interested in exposure to Hex, now looks like the right time if you look at the chart, because it looks like we could be basing out, and that means a good price opportunity to buy the dip. And long story short, we are raising capital, and it is happening. I don't really talk about it much on Twitter because it's a private placement, and that's supposed to be really happening in private. So you're not going to hear about it much unless you're trying to become unless you're an accredited investor and you're trying to invest. So that's pretty much why I'll talk about it once in a blue on the stream, because again, that thing is backed by Hex, so that might be something you want to own. Yeah, economic books are really outdated when they're published before 2012. That's a fact. I agree with that statement. You think? You should find out, because I know it's not. Yeah. It's not. RV. Well, yeah, man. So this is what's currently happening right now, right? And what you guys got to understand is that fiat units of account are just variables. So however you take it is however it's going to be, right? So if you take it to be something that's real, then it's going to matter to you, because you can't control that. I can't control the value of a dollar. If that was the case, Hex would be at $20, not 3 cents. So what are you supposed to do? You wait for the market to reprice itself higher where it belongs, because the market just wasn't where it was supposed to be at the top. That's why it's now where it's at now. But everybody's seen how the market runs when it runs. So when a currency revalues, all that means is that the pricing of the denominator is different. So say, for example, you got a dollar of something. Then all of a sudden that dollar is repriced 5 times lower. That dollar thing is now $5 because the value of that dollar just went down 5x. And that's how that works. And if it happens that the value works the other way, then that means it repriced higher by 5x, right? So then the value would increase 20% instead of go down 5x. Or I'm sorry, decrease 20% instead of go up in value 5x, right? Because your purchasing power increased instead of decreased. So that's both sides of that coin. I hope that makes sense. You gotta look at an inflation and a deflationary aspect of that equation. Unless you live in one of the BRICS countries, it doesn't really affect you. So I wouldn't worry about it unless you did. Got you. Yeah, I don't know about that, brother. Because I don't really hear people talking about that. So unless that becomes some type of market that people care about, I wouldn't worry about it too much. And within the ETH market itself, people are very narrow-minded. So I'd say keep an eye on it. I personally haven't heard much about that specifically, so I wouldn't sweat it too much. But it's good to know because it's something to understand. Because the Ripple network, I don't know if you guys have out there have ever used it, but it works pretty good. Not as fast as Pulse Chain, of course, but it works pretty good. It's pretty solid. Could be better. Let's see. Yes, that's exactly what it means. Let's see. Yeah, nah, because I don't need to. They're all the same. Um, let's see. Want to answer your guys' questions, but I've lost my spots. Let's see. Uh, so what's going on with the BRICS? The BRICS are legit um redoing their currencies, right? Russia already has done so. What? Is the market closed? The fuck is going on here? What time is it? Yeah, it's market closing. All right. You guys probably know by now the Russian ruble has repriced itself lower, or should I say higher, a long time ago. This was the start of the nonsense back in February, and you guys know I can't talk about it. Um, and it went so far that the market devalued their currency 99%. So imagine your cost of living going up 2x overnight. Your rent, everything, goods, food, everything, 2x overnight. That's what happened there. But after they backed their currency by gold, what happened? Well, gold and crude currency improved 67%. And it's currently sitting at, we're about to close here, so we'll go with the close of this 63% improvement in the value of the ruble versus the dollar. Man, since the institution of the sanction,
Are you muted? Chat's saying you're muted.
Oh, sure am. I muted myself somehow. Sorry, guys. Trying to see if I can change this image. Nope. Close that. All right. See, we got somebody else here. What's going on, brother?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you were muted for the past like 30, 40 seconds, but it's a pleasure. So if you want to go back on that, what you were saying.
Cool. 30, 40 seconds. What the hell was I saying? So I was just answering the question. And I guess before that, I was just saying thanks to the shout out there. And before that, we was talking about the dollar repricing, and then that was that. So in terms of repurchasing, it looks like okay, July 13th, so last week. Not much going on here at all. Let me try to give it another point of view.
So I wanted to ask, could be an elementary question for you, but I
Shoot.
keep trying to think back to my
Yeah, there ain't shit.
macroeconomics days. But
They
could you
sucked.
explain
Don't worry
again?
about
Yeah, it did.
it.
Garbage. I can't remember shit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
can you remind us why it's better to have a weaker U.S. dollar?
So it's not better. That's just the story that they tell. And the story that they tell is that a weaker U.S. dollar means that international entities can buy more U.S. goods. That's why a weaker U.S. dollar is better from their vantage point, because they buy goods and services with their laundered money that goes abroad.
That's what's up.
I see.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's
Certainly.
why they say that. Yeah, so
I,
that's why they say that.
I was confused that it was better on the U.S. side of the table, but
No, it's
that was
not.
confused. That's what was confusing.
So in reality, if we were to experience deflation, the cost of living would go down, the cost of goods and services would go down. Everything would reset lower in value, assets, everything. But it would be equivalent. There wouldn't just be one sector of the market, or it would happen one market after another. But it would happen, somewhat collectively. But just to
Certainly,
answer
yeah.
this question, you guys can see there's really no repo action going on. So apparently, people haven't been taking liquidity since the 1st of March, relative to last year. Let's see what's going on in terms of millions of dollars. Not much doing here either. It's 2 million, a million, so not much action going on here. So I guess they open those windows up in times of stress. But there is reverse repurchasing. It means that they're pulling liquidity from the market, and we'll see that in this chart. Give me 1 second. I just want to show you guys this. You guys see 2.1 trillion, right? And it's been on a tear since March 21st, right? But how do you see this on the Federal Reserve balance sheet? Go ahead, ask your question, brother. I'm sorry.
I think he's just got a hot mic.
Uh,
You guys hear me or no?
Now, yeah.
Oh, okay, sweet. So you keep talking about like the fluctuations of like unit of count or units
Yeah.
of account and how that different price changes. I mean, everyone's forecasting a great reset. Do you like attribute, or let's see, do you equate great reset to like Web3 at also just creating a new unit of account and for cryptocurrency? Is that what the end game would be?
It's a good question. Um, yes and yes and no and yes. It's kind of a weird one.
Yeah, certainly for
Yeah, so it's a weird
anybody.
one because there's pieces in there that you can say yes to but no to also. Um, because while they're trying to guide, okay, so we're in the midst of a financial reset at the moment, if you ask me. We've been in a recession since 2021 or 2020, if you ask me. Officially, 2021, we were definitely in a recession. The end of that Q4, I said it, we were in a recession. Let me see if I can get a better point of view here. There's dollars quarterly. Can't get better than that, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure the Federal Reserve balance sheet is total assets. Yeah, here we go. Let's do it. Yep. This is where you see the reduction in assets on the Federal Reserve balance sheet. 5 here. 577 down to 5745. But this shit was higher. This is not everything. This is not the right data set. Well, I can't find it.
I mean, doesn't it seem kind of apparent that Bitcoin maxis want it to be could it even be an international unit of account? Seems that's what they want.
So, the thing about it is that the market could agree to whatever it wants to agree to, you know? So here's the actual Federal Reserve balance sheet chart. This was, I guess, let me see, 8504, 8504. Okay, so this was the top, April 13th, 2022. But we're not really much lower from that point in time. We're just at 8457 versus 8504. So that's about 50 billion off. So not much liquidity being drained. And this is what I'm talking about. They got all these accounts where they'll show you 2 trillion being removed from repo, every day apparently, but balance sheet's still floating. Fat. So, meh. Not much to think about it, man. They're just more derivations of the same thing. So, just slicing up time.
I'm gonna head back in the back seat.
All right, brother.
Pleasure.
Appreciate you coming on, man. Did I answer your question or did I not?
Yes, sir. I think. Yeah, you got it.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
So let's see here. There you go. It's easy to identify information too. You just gotta go to HEX.VISION. Yep. I was thinking about this earlier. How like the interesting aspect of meme coins, right, and how they prove the whole notion of legal tender moot, right? Like they render that whole notion moot. How so? Well, it just goes to show that anything can be money because we can assign value to anything, and a meme coin is living proof of that. Shit coins, whatever you want to call them, really are living proof of that. Let's see. I'll go for a little while longer, then we'll wrap it up, guys. Today was just to go over bankruptcy and to show you guys where we're at in terms of HEX and all the other good stuff. Because we're in a unique position to acquire an asset that's going to be really desired here once the floodgates open, because they're opening. I mean, RH doesn't get on Fox because they're not. So you guys got to understand that. Let's see what the politics question. If politics change in the U.S. House and Senate, become Republican, and they decide to go after Ethereum, would that affect HEX? I don't think that they would decide to go after Ethereum because they don't really care about that. And if anything, I think that they would support crypto. I don't think they would go after it. But that's just my opinion. But either way, no. Because HEX is isolated from Ethereum. Nah. What up, homie? Let's see. Yeah, I was muted. Sorry, guys. Make sure I'm not muted now.
The chart was positioned last time where the laser beam was heading right up to that lady's.
Ladies, what? Oh man. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know how that got muted again. I must have tapped it or something.
Yeah, my internet keeps cutting in and out, so I can barely even tell like when you're talking sometimes.
Oh, that's rough. Yeah, but I'm checking now. Thanks for the super chat, Justin. Appreciate you, brother. Oh man, my mic's still muted. Let me know if it's still muted.
No,
Damn.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah. It says you guys still muted. I mean, I know I've been unmuted this whole time. I just checked a minute ago.
Yeah, I keep checking like the chat and everything and coming back and making sure you're not muted. Oh, now he's just gone. Yeah, like I was saying.
That time was me. I just want to make sure. Okay. So sound is good. All right. Yeah. Yeah, you know, it does change by the day. It's not happening how they thought it would. I'll tell you that much. That's a fact. It's not happening how they thought it would. First week of August, no idea, man. But you know, once that dam breaks, look out below because it's gonna happen fast. But whether it's gonna happen within the next 13 days or not, could very well be the case. But I don't know, because as you guys can see, Bitcoin can also go sideways for much longer than it cannot. So that's what's going on there. But you know, just be patient. We've been in this bear market for Bitcoin anyway. Yeah, for like 260 days, I guess. Let me break this chart down. About to close anyway. 250 days for Bitcoin. So we're way ahead of them. Whoops. 301. We're 50 days ahead of them, so we're good. Yeah. So as you guys can see, that's how we're decorrelated. In case anybody's still confused on that one. We topped out first, and we probably bottomed out first. I think we bottomed out. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I don't even know when, but it's been a while. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got, guys. Unless you guys got any questions, I'm done here. So let me know.
Yeah, I'm just gassed up about these free airdrops making this wait that much easier.
Oh yeah. You guys just be sure to read that code and be safe when you claim. You know, wrap it up.
And the like the pulse police, make sure that they run it through their checks and balances before you claim it or whatever. I don't know exactly. I think if they got a Twitter thing or not. I keep just hearing it through.
They got a Telegram is what it is. I think it's t.me/pulse police. Actually, I'm not sure, but I think that's it. So for whoever's on Telegram, yeah, that's how you check it.
Yeah. Definitely.
I don't know if it's the word pulse or the ticker pulse. So something to also check. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad a lot of those things are coming out right now. Hopefully it keeps going.
No, I mean, we're in a good position. I mean, look, Pulse Chain is freaking, you know, the demand for Pulse Chain is so ridiculous. I hope you guys are paying attention to that because it's crazy. It's real crazy. So that's that. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. Yep. That's it. Yep. That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate
That's
that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep. Everybody. My God. HEX Asians